You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Number 11 in the coaches poll, number 11 in the AP poll, and we are absolutely fighting with the Sun Devils right now. Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Richie Bradshaw, your host, your guide, your friend, your expert for all things Sun Devils, from the gridiron to the hardwood and everything in between. It's been a while since we've done a live, so we are just hanging out. It's a vibe check. We're chilling. We are going to sit here and talk some ASU football. I've got no agenda. We are just going to have ourselves a good time, have ourselves some good conversation. I am going to let you guys know that this live edition of Locked On Sun Devils is going to be brought to you by our good friends over at Gametime. Gametime is the best. I literally just used it to go to a concert the other night. I saved a lot of money by using Gametime. Didn't even realize I was getting like premier seats with it. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Gametime's great. If you guys are looking to get to an ASU game this year, I suggest going to Gametime. Let's talk ASU football. I am so excited for ASU football this year. There's so many good things that are returning for this program that are going to make ASU so good again. And it's just getting repetitive, the amount of times that you will have people say the same things over and over again. Why isn't ASU going to repeat? Oh, they lost Cam Scadaboo. And that's really what they all point to every single time. ASU lost Cam Scadaboo. How do you overcome Cam Scadaboo? It's a group effort, man. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that losing Cam Scadaboo didn't significantly hurt and handicap your team, but this is also a Sun Devils team that still has a lot of guys returning. They still have a lot of depth. They still have a lot of talent that's coming back to this team. And because Cam Scadaboo became one of the sensations of the nation last year, especially with his claims going into the Peach Bowl that he was the best running back in the country, and then against Texas in the Peach Bowl goes on and just absolutely dominates what was going on. I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense why a lot of people would assume that Cam Scadaboo was the entire team. And he was top 5 in Heisman voting. He had over 2,100 scrimmage yards. He set numerous school records for ASU. He had one of the best single seasons an ASU football player has had on either side of the field in decades. He's had one of the best single seasons an ASU sports player has had in the last decade since the turn of the century. You lose him, ASU's probably due for a step back, naturally. But you have the national media that assumes that that's just the entire team. Like, I just don't understand why one player completely dismantles the rest of a great roster. Now, if Cam Scadaboo literally had carried ASU by himself to the Peach Bowl, then yeah, I do understand that that's a little bit different. However, that wasn't the case, because you had Sam Leavitt, who was dominating last year. When he returned from injury after missing the Cincinnati game, he was one of the best quarterbacks in college football, period. He had 3 straight games of 3 touchdown passes or more. He had 4 of his last 6 games were 3 touchdown passes or more. Like, he just dominated. And he was dominating with Jordan Tyson. He was dominating with Jordan Tyson out due to injury. He was doing his thing. And he's back. And he's got decent Heisman odds. First of all, he just has Heisman odds, period. When's the last time we had an ASU football player that entered the season with Heisman Trophy odds? I could not tell you. But Sam Leavitt has Heisman Trophy odds. That in itself should be enough to get a little more recognition. Now, I do understand there's going to be people who check in and go, you're ranked number 11. What do you mean recognition? Well, what I mean when I say recognition, first of all, it would be awesome if I had the right graphic up. There we go. Had the wrong graphic the whole time. This is that's a live for you. We just kind of had to roll with it. But ASU, number 11 in the AP poll. That's the respect, right? Yes, it is. But at the same time, it's also like if you were to go through the top 25 and you were to ask maybe not the average college football fan, but probably the average college football fan, there's a lot of people who you would go, who's a fraud in the top 25? And someone would go Arizona State at 11. Yeah, ASU at 11 is a fraud because a lot of people would be talking about, oh, ASU is primed for a major step back this year. And ASU was the Cinderella team, and they came out of nowhere, and ASU did this, and ASU did that. I understand what you're saying. And it's because of that that a lot of people look at ASU as a potential step back team, as a potential fraudulent Cinderella team of sorts. I get it. I do. But again, there's a lot more coming back to this team than people realize. But so much of it is about Cam Scadaboo. My question is this. If ASU had gone into the Peach Bowl and played as well as they did, but Cam Scadaboo didn't have the big-time media comments going into the game that he was the best running back in the country, and instead of him winning the Peach Bowl MVP by himself, it was a more spread out performance. Is the narrative changed now? Because you weren't paying a lot of attention to ASU before that game. So when you did pay attention to it, you're paying attention to Cam Scadaboo. If you didn't have one single player that everyone was focused on, is that narrative changed? I don't know. I like to think maybe it is, at least maybe, because it confuses me with Sam Levitt being as good as he is. Jordan Tyson is back. He's one of the best receivers in the country. For the 2026 draft class, he's being talked about as one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver out the gate. I think Matt Miller put this out, comparing Jordan Tyson to Jackson Smith in Jigba. I love that comparison. That feels really genuine to the type of player that he is, because when I look at Jordan Tyson, and I was talking to my dad about this earlier today, is going into the year, one of the things that I loved about Tyson, one of the things I knew about Tyson was that he is a speedster. He's a guy who can take the top off your defense. He's someone that is going to be able to threaten the defenses deep. He's going to be able to provide any kind of opportunity for the big play. We knew that because we saw him do that at Colorado. We knew that he had special teams prowess too. And ASU didn't use him on special teams last year. I don't mind that. It is what it is. What we didn't know going into the year was that Jordan Tyson really just rounded out the entirety of his game. Like, he is such a good route runner, and he dices guys up. And that's a lot of what Jackson Smith and Jigba did so well when he was at Ohio State, and what he's doing now with the Seahawks is he is quick. He is. But he's so smart as a tactician, the way that he can just plant his foot, cut, and make something happen. And Jordan Tyson was showing that off last year, the ability to just separate from guys. One of the things that matters when you get to the pros, there's two ways to separate as a receiver. There's speed and there's route running. Size is not going to be the difference for you. N'Keal Harry, unfortunately, was an example of that. Jordan Tyson is showing he has both. He has the natural speed to just outrun guys, but now he's being able to check the defenders that are trying to cover him by just making a move. He's a special player. Him and Sam Levitt were on the same page last year. They get to play again with each other once again. He is going to be the focal point of the offense now. Cameron Scadaboo is gone. Jordan Tyson is in. Tyson is the man until further notice. That is going to lead the charge for this offense. And there's some other guys too in the passing game, but it's a brand new passing game. Malik McClain is your lone returner. He had 2 catches last year. You're bringing in Jalen Moss. I'm very excited about him. Noble Johnson comes in. Jaron Hamilton comes in. Hamilton continues to make plays in camp nonstop. It's all that I'm hearing about. He's going to end up being one of the players that ends up being like by midseason, watch out for this kid. He's probably going to be one of your biggest playmakers. There's a lot of good things that are on the table here for Jaron Hamilton to accomplish for you. They've got the guys there though. But at the end of the day, you have Jordan Tyson. That's all that you really need with Sam Levitt. It's good enough to power this passing attack. But you've got the tight end depth as well. Shamama Tayer's back. Kamari Anderson transferred in. Jaden Fortier is healthy. AJ Ia comes in as a true freshman. Tight end needs to be a priority this year, especially with trying to figure out the receiving game. Then you've got the running back room. And Cam Scadaboo's gone. Okay. We replace him in the aggregate. We go full-on Moneyball. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a collection of guys, a running back by committee, and we're just going to have everyone do certain little aspects. So we need someone to be a good receiver, the way that Cam Scadaboo was. Okay, well, you got a handful of those guys, but Raleek Brown, probably your guy. All right, we need a downhill runner who's going to punish the defenders in front of them. Okay, I like Kanye Udo to be that guy, the transfer from Army. He is a bruiser, and he's got that Army mentality too. All right, well, we need someone who can just make some plays in general. Well, again, I feel like we got a lot of guys who can do that, but Kyson Brown feels like the kind of player that can do a little bit of everything for you. Sounds good to me. You still have Jason Brown too. Don't forget about him. He dropped some weight. He's right about 200 pounds now. He's going to be much closer to that. Don't want to necessarily call him like a scat back, but he's got that kind of value to him where it's just get him the ball in open space, let him make a play. He's getting some reps with special teams. I am intrigued to see if that's going to be an area that we see Jason Brown a lot at this year, because we did not see him last year. We saw him week 1 against Wyoming, and we did not see him again. That's not going to be the case this year. He's too talented to keep off the field. And again, with Cam Scadaboo gone, DeCarlos Brooks is gone too, by the way. They lost 2 of their top 3 running backs from last year. So there's a lot of open carries here. Offense is going to be fine. One of the biggest stories that I feel is not being talked nearly enough about is what ASU has going on the defensive side of the football. Because boy, oh boy, there's a lot of good football players on defense. That defensive line is completely intact. Clayton Smith, Elijah O'Neal, Prince Dorbaugh, Justin Wadley. Your top 4 pass rushers from last year are back. CJ Fight, Jacob Richcon-Geika, and Zach Swanson. 3 of your top 4 defensive tackles are back. You also have Michael Gardner, who came into the transfer portal. That figures to be a very important player to the cog of the defensive line there. Replace Jeff Clark. Linebacker room. You have Keyshawn Elliott, Jordan Crook, Cyrus Viaseu returned. 3 of your top 4. Caleb McCullough is gone, but Tate Romney is healthy. Martell Hughes also showed off some goods last year. Secondary. You're replacing Shamari Simmons. That's massive. But Xavion Alford is back. Friend of the podcast, Xavion Alford. First team All Big 12. Xavion Alford is back. Miles Ghost Rouser is back. Your top 2 corners, Javen Robinson and Keith Abney. Keith Abney, by the way, getting some love in NFL draft circles. Keep an eye on him this year. You've got those 4 are returning. That's all you need is your top 2 corners, your top 2 safeties. How you replace Shamari Simmons is going to be difficult, but you do have a collection of guys who can help figure that out. They bring in Kendrick Breedlove. They bring in Adrian Wilson. They bring in Nyland Green. You have Rodney Bimage develop from year 1 to year 2. You have Tony Lewis and Kuba develop from year 1 to year 2. Chris Johnson Jr. develop from year 1 to year 2. Montana Warren is now in his 3rd year. He actually had the opportunity to play in a starting role last year in the Peach Bowl because Shamari Simmons was forced to miss the first half of the game for a horrific targeting call that should never have been called targeting. What a controversial penalty for Arizona State fans over the last 365 days. But You have the guys to be able to replace him. Looks good. They got better at kicker. They got Jesus Gomez. They'll actually be able to nail some field goals this year. It's the second year for Kenyon Floyd, your punter. He looks pretty solid last year. I anticipate that him and Charlie Ragle were probably doing a lot of work together, and he's just going to be more comfortable. All in all, sure, Cam Scadaboo is gone. I don't know if you've listened to this podcast or not, but there's a lot returning here. There's a lot of proven players returning here. There's a lot of seniors returning. Your entire coaching staff is returning. These are things that if you listen to Locked On Sun Devils religiously, you know I talk about all the time. And the reason why I talk about it all the time is because no matter how much I say it, it feels like it falls on deaf ears. ASU fans get it. We do. But the rest of the nation, save for a handful of people who actually seemingly pay attention to college football, overlook ASU. They're the step back team. And I don't understand why. I truly don't. If you lost more, then I would get it. If Jordan Tyson decided to go pro, because he could have gone pro, yeah, this is a step back team. You just lost your number one running back and your number one receiver. That's a step back team. But you didn't. You brought back Tyson, who not only is Tyson good, but he's great. He's one of the best receivers in the nation. You brought him back. Okay, well, on defense, if you lost more of your seniors, right? If Keyshawn Elliott, Clayton Smith, CJ Fight, Zavon Alford, and Keith Abney, if we said those four were also out of eligibility, like, yeah, the depth is there. You still have players, but yeah, that's a big loss. That's a rebuild team. They have 4 of their 5 starters on the offensive line back. If you had 2 back, then yes, I understand being a step back team. But it's the same gosh darn team. The same team that took Texas to double overtime was 1 play away from winning that game, several plays throughout the game, swung the momentum back and forth. ASU was right in that thing, and they could have won it. Same team's back and just totally overlooked. And they're overlooked for Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech. I'm a fan of what they did in the offseason. I think they're going to be a good team this year. Why are they the favorite? Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On College Football. Love you so much, brother. Can't wait to get you on here so that we can ask you about that ourselves. But it's not just Spencer, who knows ball, by the way. It's so many people that just buy in because Texas Tech is buying a team, which you can be mad all you want. If you can do it, do it. If Texas or if Arizona State could buy a team, I would tell them to do it for sure. If they did what Texas Tech did, I would applaud them. If you can do it, do it. It's pay to win. Okay, sounds good. I want to win. Simple as that for me, at least. I don't know. But for some reason, Texas Tech is like as big a favorite, if not more of a favorite than ASU. We're back on Kansas State. We should be on Kansas State. They are a contender every year, and they've got their quarterback, and they got a lot of players back. ASU beat them last year in their backyard. Feels like ASU should have that edge. Baylor's another one of the favorites. I am very high on Baylor. I have been high on Baylor all year long. When I first started, I was called silly. Now it's kind of like, see it. I'm still high on Baylor. That offense could be better than ASU's in the Big 12 this year. They're gonna make some noise. Utah, I think, is going to be good this year. I do not think that they are going to be world beaters. I think that that's probably an 8 to 9 win team, which is pretty darn good. TCU is sneaky. I like TCU. That's probably it for contenders. BYU would have been there, but I don't know what to do at quarterback. So I don't know, man. And I know there's a lot of BYU people that are not worried about the quarterback situation because of the other returning production they have, and it's still a good defense. They're well coached. I understand. I just have my reservations. When you lose your quarterback and one who was as good as Jake Retzloff, and there's people that tell me he's not good, which is weird because it's the same people who were telling me he was good, but now he's not good. So take that with a grain of salt, I suppose. There's just questions that these other teams have that don't feel like they're being asked the same way that they are being asked about ASU. Why aren't we asking more about Texas Tech and whether or not the players that they bought can actually work together? They're paper champs. That doesn't always work in college or the pros. Sometimes you can spend all the money you want and it doesn't matter. So how come we're not asking that question the same way that we're asking ASU the question if they can replace Cam Scadaboo, if they can repeat it again? Sure, people are asking those questions. They should be asking those questions, but it's not at the same level that ASU is facing those questions. That's my problem with it. That's my problem with it. Let's just get hyped now as we wind this thing down. If you have hopped in the live, I appreciate you guys as always so much. Don't worry if you missed the live. These are all archived. You can watch it again on YouTube, and it will be uploaded wherever you get your podcasts. So don't worry. It's always a good time, though. Let's just end this bad boy with some hype for the upcoming season. There's a lot of good stuff, man. This is going to be a good ASU team. And I love the schedule. I am not someone who likes a cupcake schedule. I want to prove I'm the best. I want to take on the allegations of me being a poser and prove you're wrong. What Indiana is doing, I don't respect that. I just don't respect having your schedule littered with cupcakes, and I certainly do not respect any conference that does not play 9 conference games. You know who you are, SEC. ASU has themselves a 9-game conference schedule. They have an SEC opponent. They have a group of 5 opponent. They have an FCS opponent. If it was up to me, I would not have an FCS opponent. I truly, if I could make my schedule 12 Power 4 games, I would do it because I want to be the best team I possibly can. But at least ASU is doing the right thing. This is a good schedule. You get your little feel-good Powerpuff game at the beginning of the year against NAU, second best team in the state of Arizona for football, in my opinion. That's your little tune-up game. Then you go to Starkville and you play Mississippi State. That's not going to be an easy game. That's an SEC team. That's SEC environment. Texas State is a good group of 5 team. And then it's a good slate, man. And you've got some good games at home, thankfully. Texas Tech, you've got them at home. That's a huge plus for you. You have TCU at home. You have Houston at home. You do travel for some of your bigger games, though. You go visit Iowa State in November. That's a scary game. You visit Utah. Always a tough place to play in Salt Lake City. You go to Baylor to open up Big 12 play. That's a game that's got me nervous. I've had that circled for myself for a little while. This is going to be a very intriguing schedule for ASU. There's a lot of prove-it opportunities for ASU on this schedule. Do I think ASU goes 12-0? No. Do I think they go 11-1? Maybe. Do I think they go 10-2? Yeah. I have a hard time seeing worse than a 9-win season, and you can give me 10-2 with a surprise upset somewhere in there because it'll happen. And just a slugfest loss. Off the top of my head, let's say ASU loses to Houston and Iowa State, because I totally think that Houston is going to sneak up on someone this year. And ASU is looking to go undefeated at home again this year, and Houston may be thinking otherwise. So just for fun, that's not finalized. I think I know what my final prediction is going to be. But that's kind of the way I see the schedule playing out this year for ASU. There's going to be a slugfest that they come up short in, and then there's going to be a game that they shouldn't lose that they do lose. It's just, it happens every year in college football. Definitely feels like something that happens to ASU more often than not, a la Oregon State in 2014. Hopefully it's not a loss that crushes our hopes the way that one did. But this is a great schedule with lots of proven opportunities. You beat Iowa State in Ames in November when the games really, 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 really matter. That's your statement win right there, especially depending on how you enter that point of the year. If you do come into it as atop the rankings in the Big 12, and like this is your game to separate yourself in the rankings, then that becomes even that much bigger a game for you. If you come into it and you're like third place, but that win spikes you up, that's another big opportunity for you. But if you're in some kind of position where a win in Ames can really separate you from the rest of the pack in the Big 12, that becomes like the circle game on your calendar. You've got some easier teams to play this year. I don't want to say easier because I literally just mentioned that I think ASU is going to lose to someone they're not supposed to this year. But you do have, in theory, super winnable games. U of A, West Virginia, Colorado. Sorry, Colorado. I do feel that way about you as of now. Plenty of time to change my mind. Houston should be beatable. There are super winnable games on the schedule too. But I love that ASU has plenty of good opponents, plenty of great opponents, plenty of Big 12 contenders that they can beat this year. You finish the year, you could beat Iowa State, Texas Tech, Baylor. 3 of the teams that are getting some of the most love to go to the Big 12 title game. You have TCU, you have Utah. Those are other big-time title contenders. The only ones you really won't run into this year are Kansas State and BYU, which would be the regular season. You could find them in Arlington for the Big 12 championship game, but you are still getting a murderer's row of really good football teams in the Big 12 to prove yourself against. And I love it. I don't like cupcake schedules. I don't like it at all. It feels cheap. It's not fun. When I play college football 25 and college football 26 and I get to make my own schedule, I am only playing games against ranked teams the whole year. I don't have fun in the FCS games, in the games where ASU is just clearly better. Like if ASU scheduled, who's just a bad group of 5 program? First one that comes to mind, Utah State. If ASU scheduled Utah State, I'd be a little disappointed. If they scheduled Boise State, that's a different thing. Because I want ASU to play the best teams possible. It feels like they've got that opportunity this year with a great team that is returning. Things are looking good right now in the desert, in Tempe, Arizona. The vibes should be immaculate for this team because there's a lot of great players who are returning. There's a lot of expectations that are being placed on ASU, and there's even more doubters that are being placed on ASU. And I love it. I feel like that's when ASU was at their best last year, was when I'm sitting here on Locked On Sun Devils and I am frustrated as can be and ranting and venting. I can't believe we're not ranked yet. I can't believe we're not in the top 15. I can't believe this, that, and the other. And yet ASU would go out and they would just kick butt. That was just a weekly occurrence for the team. And they're kind of giving you that same fuel to fire this year. No, you're not being picked 16th in the conference, but you are one of the reigning conference champions who is not like at least consent. That's not the right word. More respect is being given to Ohio State repeat as Big Ten champions than ASU is being given respect to repeat as Big 12 champions. And Ohio State lost their whole damn team. ASU brought their whole team back. It's Ohio State. Can we still talk about returning production? Can we still talk about the quality of players that are on these teams? I don't know what to tell you because Ohio State is still great. And I am someone, I've said this many times, I will continue to say it, until proven otherwise, the defending champs are the best team. But they did lose the majority of that team, and that's very different in college compared to the pros. These things should matter more. And yet it feels like Ohio State has better odds to win the Big Ten than ASU has to win the Big 12. Maybe that's factually inaccurate if you want to pull up the spreads from our good friends over at FanDuel. But I would tell you, if you polled 100 college football fans, who do you think has better chances to repeat as their conference champion, ASU or Ohio State? Majority is going to be Ohio State. And it shouldn't be that way. But it is. That's just the world we live in. But we should be hyped about ASU this year. There's a lot of great opportunity for this program to prove itself as much better than anyone would like to give it credit for. This is a good looking year for ASU. And I hope that you guys are all in on this team. I hope that you are tuned in to this team. And I hope that you're tuned in to Locked On Sun Devils, wherever you get your shows. Hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and you'll get an update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for tuning in to this live edition of Locked On Sun Devils. You can get this live on replay wherever. It's going to be available wherever you get your podcast. If that's audio or visual, you can watch it again here on YouTube. Now's never been a better time to subscribe to the show. Lots of more fun things coming up. I'll catch you later. And until next time, you keep it locked right here on Locked